Hi, I'm Katie Gavenus with the Center for Alaskan Coastal Studies, and this is my friend Johanna, and we are going on an upside down hike in our backyard looking for things that live underneath logs. So we're going to knock carefully on this log
3 times
and then carefully roll it over and see what we can see underneath here. And a really important thing to do once you look under the log is actually to be still and wait a little while. Most of the animals that live under here are nocturnal, or they like the dark, and so they'll dig down into the soil a little bit. But yeah, Johanna spotted there's quite a few ants down in here crawling around. Oh, and then this is a fun one.
Looks like it's happy.
Yeah, this is a type of isopod, sometimes called a pillbug. I'm gonna get a little water on my hands. And these isopods are a really important part of the ecosystem. They mostly eat dead stuff, like all this decaying needles and leaves, and then they turn it into soil. So they're a decomposer. We're going to check underneath this log here. I'm going to knock 3 times. Johanna, you want to come up a little closer where you can look?
Yes, I would.
Oh, what's this?
Pillbug.
A pillbug. Do you want to get a little...
Pillbug.
Your hands are still a little bit wet? So if you look closely, you can see that this isopod has a hard exoskeleton. So it's an arthropod. It's related to crab and shrimp and insects. And it has lots of jointed legs that allows it to move around.
Oh my god, I'm scared.
They can be a little bit creepy crawly, but they're harmless. Like I said, they're decomposers. So they're mostly eating dead leaves and needles. This is from a cedar tree above us. So they eat that and they decompose it and they poop out soil, which is really important for our forest ecosystem here. I'm going to put this isopod back. Carefully. There you go.
And I'll give it some food.
Yeah, Johanna likes to give them a little bit of food to thank them for letting us hold them. And I'm going to flip this log right back over. Get it right back in the same spot. And I think we should flip over this one too.
My hand's still wet and dirty.
Good, perfect. You're ready for the next log.
Did you knock 3 times?
I did. Oh, cool.
And I think we have found a snail.
Yeah, there's a land snail down in here. You get a look at that. So snails protect themselves by having that hard shell. And then inside that hard shell, they have a soft, gooey sort of body that's pretty strong, and that allows them to move around and bring their shell with them. Okay, let's put the roof back on.
If we can't touch it?
Let's leave this snail where it is. Their shells, even though they're pretty strong for the size of things down there, their shells can be a little bit fragile if we try and pick them up. We don't want to damage it. Okay, great. Let's look under another one over here. Okay, so let's come look underneath this stump. One of the cool things about an upside down hike is that underneath every log you have a representation of this sort of under log or under stump ecosystem, and so there's usually different organisms under there that have different roles in the ecosystem. Whoa, this log is super decomposed and rotted away. And so there's lots of different decomposers that live under here. We saw an isopod earlier. I'm also seeing down in here, there's an earthworm. So earthworms are also really important decomposers. They're eating that wood and the decaying leaves and turning it into soil. And then around the outside, we can see all these plants that are growing. So all of these producers that are able to photosynthesize underneath the logs and stumps or rocks. And you'll also find things that eat the plants. So herbivores that don't eat the dead leaves, but actually eat the roots or the living parts of the leaves. Millipedes are a really good example of something that eats the living plants as well as the dead material.